Welcome back, Jets fans. We are here to break down the last Dolphins game. Gordon and I are a little late. Apologize for that, but we really had to ingest this one. We scored 6 points. We scored 0 touchdowns in our last 3 games, 14 quarters, I think, one of the worst collapses that I can remember. And we're not a good team right now.
Were we ever a good team, Dan? Got a little philosophical there for you. So, we're just going to roll right into it on this one, dude. So, yeah, dude, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head, man. Like, scored 6 points against our, at this point, our one of our more bitter rivals in the Dolphins. Would have been nice. I think we said during, our preview that it would have been nice to just sweep a team, Dan, just to sweep, get one sweep would have made a little bit better tasting to that 5-game losing streak there at the end. But no, what do the Jets do? They do the Jet thing and they lose the game. They don't score a touchdown. That's 5 games this year that we haven't scored a touchdown. 5. 3 of them to end the season.
What do you chalk that up to? What do you chalk? Let's just put everything else on hold. What do you chalk the Jets not being able to score a touchdown in the last 3
many
games?
different things. I think
what's like give me your main 2 points. Or just a couple.
Revolving door quarterback, regardless if we had a good one, regardless if we had one good, great quarterback on the roster, revolving door, right? Like they got injured, they were in and out. So that's inconsistent. The offensive line it feels like purgatory, right? Like we're rolling that ball up the hill. We feel like we're signing good players. We're drafting good players. And then that ball rolls down. They get injured. They get hurt. They don't play well. Laken Tomlinson turns into a dud. Like, revolving door in the offensive line as well. And then I just not creative coaching or the coaching just kind of gets stuck in a rut as well. And like, can't adjust mid game. I don't, you know what I mean? Like, got to give Adam Gase some applause. Hear me out for those like first 15 scripted plays, right? Like we did really well.
His first drive, he looked like Belichick. I mean, his first drive was always the most impressive drive that I've ever seen in my life. And he would give you so much hope in the beginning of games. You would see Sam Darnold come out there, go like 6 for 6. We'd run the ball 35 yards and score a touchdown every first drive.
And then go in the locker
room. You would score 3 points the rest of the game. It was hilarious.
So every game. We've only scored 2 first quarter touchdowns all season in 17 games.
Yep.
We've scored 2 first quarter touchdowns and we've scored 5 games, no touchdowns at all. I don't want to like put any heads on stakes right now, but like in any other profession, that's someone losing a job, right?
Yeah.
Like,
and you can say what you will about the offensive line. You can say what you will about the quarterback. You can say what you will, whatever it may be on offense that you want to, okay, we lost Breece Hall. It's inexcusable. At the end of the day, it's completely inexcusable. And then you start and it really, for me, it was the red zone offense. I mean, just embarrassingly bad, dude. You had like nothing to root for these last 3 or 4 games.
I don't know what our red zone scoring percentage is, but it's got to be. It's got
no creativity. And dude, in this last game versus the Dolphins, we didn't even throw a pass into the end zone. I mean, it's not like you even had like the inkling of a thought of like, maybe we'll get it. No.
Yeah.
There wasn't even a chance of scoring a touchdown. Dude, just throw the ball up to Jeremy Ruckert. Just throw it up to Garrett Wilson. Give Corey Davis. Give Tomlinson. Just throw it in the end zone just so your fans can be like, oh, that was close. Or just something. I mean, dude, we were on like the 10-yard line or 12-yard. We threw like a screen and we lost 4 yards. And then he's throwing it out of bounds. It was just like nothing, no creativity. It's so not fun to watch the Jets play football on offense. Yeah. And I was so sick because I was back to my same old mindsets. Like when we had the ball on defense, I was like, thank God, maybe now we can score, or maybe now we can get a pick. Yeah. Like you're begging for the defense to do anything to get yourself, because you know that you're not going to be able to score unless you get the ball on like the 6-yard line. And even that, you have no idea.
You don't know.
So like, dude, there needs to be, I don't know. We don't know. We're just fans. We're dumb fans who really don't know the X's and O's and what exactly goes into a year. I know one thing. I believe in JD. I believe in Joe Douglas.
I like him.
I really do.
I like
That dude's doing everything he can. I believe in this offseason, he's going to make moves to put us in a position to be successful next year.
I mean, he's got to, right? Like,
I still believe in Salah. I still believe in Salah, but quickly losing faith. Quickly losing faith in him.
Yeah.
And then Mike LaFleur, dude, like two things need to happen with him. Either he's gone or he stays and a veteran QB comes in. Regardless, a veteran QB might have to come in. But if he stays, everything else needs to change. You need to bring in a new coach. You need to bring in a new QB. You need to bring in an assistant coach, maybe a new QB coach. Like, so much needs to happen for LaFleur because, like,
some veteran guidance.
My biggest fear, which I don't think is going to happen because Salah already came out and he said that they're going to be hiring some sort of a offensive
QB coach or
something. But the worst fear is that Mike LaFleur comes back, number one, which it looks like he will.
It is.
It looks like he's coming back. And then all you have is Zach Wilson on your offense. That's worst case scenario.
Yeah.
Best case scenario.
Running it back with Joe Flacco and Mike White. That's,
I mean, yeah, obviously you can't let that. That's when I think Woody Johnson actually might have to step in, even though he knows nothing about football.
Yeah.
And best case scenario, I'm still back and forth on Mike LaFleur. I would still like to see him gone and have somebody else come in that's a veteran who can really control that room and that can have more of a presence there. Because, like, dude, we have Mike LaFleur trying to prove himself, Salah trying to prove himself, and then Zach Wilson trying to prove himself.
Zach Wilson's just trying to make it, dude. Like,
how are we supposed to rely on these dudes? There's no credibility. There's no backbone. Yeah. They can't rest on any laurels whatsoever. Zach Wilson has never been challenged as a quarterback. He has been handed the job time after time after time. It was only this year that he was slightly challenged with the benching, and then he got his job back again, and then he's benched again.
Yeah.
So I think that the best thing, I know I'm going on a tangent here. I think that the best thing for Zach Wilson, if I can just put him into a microcosm, Zach Wilson sits next year.
Mm-hmm.
You bring in a straight veteran, a Jimmy G, Aaron Rodgers type. I do not want Lamar Jackson. He is going to break the bank. I mean, that dude is going to he's going to take all of our money, and JD is not going to give it to him. Hold on. I know you want to say something. So let me get this out. I've been sitting on this for 2 days. Aaron Rodgers or Jimmy G come in here. Yeah. They get a 1 to 2 year deal. You got to give him some money. Zach Wilson learns from those dudes. He's able to build up his confidence and just season him as a quarterback. Allow him to, yes, put a little paprika, a little cayenne, a little bit of tahini. I like a little tahini, especially in my drinks. Spice it up. Get him in there. Allow him to just understand what it's like to throw a touch pass, which I've never seen out of Zach Wilson in 2 years now. I've never seen a touch pass. I've only seen picks and I've only seen bullets. And that's it.
Throws high rockets, dude. What are you going to do?
Let him learn. If Mike LaFleur is your offensive coordinator, that's fine. You need a veteran quarterback. Because guess what a veteran quarterbacks do? Let me show you. They get to play. What? No. And then they change it at the line. When you have a guy that doesn't know how to call plays and a veteran quarterback, they go, what? No. And then they do what they want to do. Yeah. So we need that. We cannot continue to have just these in the NFL, everybody at their position as a coach is a child. You know, they're in their first or second year.
We need some daddies on this team.
And then you have Zach Wilson, who is a child. You can't have Garrett Wilson, and I don't know why Elijah Moore he gets no targets still. What is happening with him?
So my guess with that is he forgot how to run downfield. Every time he catches the ball now, he runs backwards. So that's my guess. I don't know. That is a very good question though. Why he is just kind of dropped off the face of the earth, I don't know.
So bring in that QB presence. If everything else stays, Zach Wilson can't, and if Zach Wilson stays, then everything else needs to change.
Yeah, I mean,
when I say stays, I don't mean on the team. I just mean as a starter.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, to your point, dude, it's like I would love Rodgers is I said that a few weeks back when we were talking. Like Rodgers is my ideal situation. Zach Wilson looked up to the dude. Like he molded his game for certain parts of his game around Rodgers. Like that seems like it makes sense. But that's about where that connection stops. Like we're not a stable enough team for Rodgers, in my opinion. Yeah, we've got the playmakers on offense, but our offensive line is god awful. He already hates Mike LaFleur's brother, so why would he come coach, be coached by his little dweeb brother? Like, you know what I mean? So that's where that is like, nah, probably not. But Rodgers on a 2-year deal would be my ideal scenario. I agree with you there. Let Wilson sit for a year. Rodgers maybe either retires after that first year and then comes back second year, and Wilson is in a competition with him. Jimmy G would be nice. Makes sense. Makes a whole lot of sense with the San Francisco connections with Saleh and LaFleur. But he's like, I don't know how to feel about Jimmy G. I also don't really watch enough of his game to like have a
injury
educated
prone.
opinion
We know
on
that
him.
injury prone.
He's injury prone. He's another like what I would call like pretty boy kind of, like, you know what I mean? We'd have two of the best looking quarterbacks in the league, dude, between Wilson and Jimmy G in that New York market. We could do something with that. But you mentioned Lamar Jackson, and I once thought that it would never happen, and I once thought that we couldn't do it. But there are a lot of there's a lot of connections between JD and Baltimore, obviously. But I think if we go get Lamar Jackson, I think LaFleur's gone, because here's why. Zach Wilson, we didn't play to his strengths as a quarterback at all. We tried to mold Zach Wilson into a pocket passing quarterback. The big plays we saw from him were when the play broke down and he got out of that pocket a little bit. Those are the big plays. That play last year against Jacksonville, that 65-yard run, that was off schedule. You know what I mean? So that huge throw to Elijah Moore 2-3 weeks back, that third down throw, like that was off script. You know what I mean? So like, we don't get any QB runs, and Lamar Jackson is a running quarterback. I know they've been trying to do the same thing or similar things to, try and sit him in the pocket and let him throw more. Like, he can throw a lot better than Zach Wilson can, but he's a running quarterback. So
I just think Lamar is going to want a contract that we're not going to provide.
Lamar's going to want Russell Wilson, or
and he's going to want everything guaranteed. Deshaun Watson changed the game.
Deshaun Watson. He's going to want that Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson contract.
We're not going to give him that.
I don't, dude. Joe Douglas is, if we don't make the playoffs next year, Joe Douglas cleaning house, Dan. Like everybody's gone.
If we win 6-7 games next year, everyone's
desperate. Desperate GMs will spend that money, and they will make it happen.
Little Dicky.
So that's the only thing. Like at this point, I think anything is possible. I know. I believe in Joe Douglas. I do. He's given us AVT. He's given us Garrett Wilson. He's given us Breece Hall. But he's also given us Laken Tomlinson. He's also given us
everyone. You mean every one of his free agent signings besides DJ Reed?
Besides DJ Reed, yeah. Quan Alexander. I love Quan Alexander. I want everybody on that defense back. I really do.
You want Mosley back?
I want Mosley on a restructured contract, and I want Mosley to retire as a Jet. I think that's going to happen. He's got such a his leadership, his intangibles. Like, yeah, maybe he's lost a step, but like I want him back real bad, because I think
Quincy back.
I want Quincy back.
Lawson back.
Quincy's redefined.
Dude, definitely didn't meet expectations.
Did not meet expectations.
Price tag right now.
He also came off one of the worst injuries you can have, especially for the type of player he is.
That's what I keep seeing. Next year, he'll finally come into his own, because we saw in the beginning of the year that you could tell that he was slow.
Yeah.
You could tell that he was not bringing that same juice that he usually did. And then kind of throughout the year, he started to show some flashes here and there. And at the end of the year, he turned
it on towards the end of the year.
He did. So maybe next year you think, all right, this is when he's going to show out, but who knows?
But again, like having him on the outside and like opens up opportunities for Quincy on the inside or JFM on the inside. Like, it pulls players off, because again, regardless of his play, like, Lawson's a big name. If you forget him or you let him go on a play, he still has the ability, or that, the potential to get you. So
I think he might be gone because of his price tag and what they want to see out of Jermaine Johnson.
That's true. And we've got
Jermaine Johnson and Michael Clemens. They were playing well towards the end. Bryce Huff. I mean, like, I don't think you can continue to have this ridiculous rotation where those guys, I think Michael Clemens, Bryce Huff, and Jermaine Johnson, Sorry, they can fill the
Yeah.
shoes of Carl Lawson.
I do agree with you there. I think they could
I
definitely
mean,
fill in that production. Now, maybe Lawson comes back on a restructured deal. I don't know. But yeah, if I'm choosing between Lawson or Mosley, I want Mosley.
all right, I hear that, man. I hear that.
So yeah, I don't know, man.
Well,
It's
let's not ramble on too much more, I guess.
yeah.
I think we've covered a bunch of the question marks as we get to the end of the year here. An epic collapse by the Jets. Not something that we really expected after sitting 7-4. I mean, we were sitting there and I was like, all right, well, we're gonna win 2 of those games, you know, and people keep saying and you keep hearing
We're gonna win 2.
we're gonna win 2 out of the last 6, right? That was
It's
too
funny
much to
because it's
ask.
because I was there. I thought we would at least win 3 or 4, Dan.
Maybe
We
1.
lost all 6.
You can win 1 of them, right? No. And then everyone put everything else aside. I'm gonna play both angel and devil here.
Ooh, I love it.
Devil's
Listen.
advocate is to this whole conversation, just to the whole component of losing 6 in a row. We lost to 5 playoff teams and a surging Lions team.
I'll give you that.
On the other side, find a way to win, dude.
On the other side, we lost to the Lions.
You
We
lost
lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It just didn't come together.
Just didn't hit it. Yeah.
It just didn't. I don't even know what else to say other than it just an inexperienced offensive coordinator. And like you said, a revolving door, a quarterback is going to breed disaster.
Yeah.
And it did. This defense did everything they could do to try to keep us in games. So the league average in scoring is 22 points. If the Jets would have scored an average of 22 points a game, they would have had 11 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
You score more points to win the game. Yeah. That's how you win. Let me just tell you, you score more and then you win.
Is that how it works? Are you sure?
More points win football games.
I thought it was the most amount of players who got on the field won.
Should fact check that though. All right, man. All right. Well, we'll be back in just a little bit here. Gordon and I are going to do what we can during the off season and dedicate ourselves to this channel, growing this channel. We appreciate everybody that has watched these videos. It's mostly friends and family at this point. Maybe that will grow. But we love y'all here at Jets Therapy. We talk about how we feel. We talk about what we think, and the misery, the letdown, the embarrassment that is the Jets franchise, that continues to be the Jets. And one of the most despised figures in my mind I think he's still with ESPN, but just in football and sports is Stephen A. Smith. And before the season, he said the Jets are the Jets until they're not. And guess what? That rings very true right now. You got all this talk about the rookies and this, and we're going to be this, and playoffs that. You are who you are until you prove that you're not. And we need to prove that we're something different next year.
Yeah, I agree. And it's like we get there. It's like the little notches of glimpses of the light at the end of the tunnel, as Salah likes to say. So yeah, man, we're not quite done with this season just yet. We've got we're going to break down those the end of the season interviews. We're going to do an end of the season wrap up, kind of expand on things a little bit more. But we're dog-eared right at the last 3 or 4 pages here. So it's been a wonderful season. Season 2, almost done in the books. I love it. Thank you, everybody.
All right. JETS, dude.
Jets.